Anyway, that runs in my family. Okay, so you can put in your chart who has it and who doesn't. Okay, things like left-handedness runs in families. It runs in mine. Okay, so choose one characteristic that you think runs in your family. That's what number 2 says. Choose one. Okay, don't put everything that you can think of. Just one thing in the table. And then complete the chart on the other side with information from as many blood relatives as you can find. If you are adopted, please fill this out with your adopted family's information. Leave yourself out, I hate to say. Okay? Try to get first-hand information. Ask living relatives what the ones who passed on died of, and that's a very important thing to know. So let's look at the other side. Turn your paper up to the other side. Come on out, Nathan. Go ahead. Okay, hold on now. Now, just let me get just a little farther, and then you can ask the question, okay? It says name, so put your name there. And class time, that's what day and time you need. And then there's a blank there. I believe that blank was in my family, so pick one thing. Now, I have people sometimes that want to tell me diabetes, hypertension, left-handed, nearsighted, they want to put everything that they can think of in this table. So pick one, or you won't get full credit for doing it, okay? This is an assignment. All right, so Nathan has a question, and it says initials, MF means male or female. Go ahead, Nathan. A relationship, how they relate to you.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Herpes isn't on here.
Herpes is not on there? What are you talking about?
You get it from your family.
You don't get herpes from your family. Where did you get that from?
One of my friends that lives in Arkansas.
A friend that lives in Arkansas. No, I hope that we're not getting herpes from our family. Although there may be lots of people in the family that have it. That's not inherited. That's a sexually transmitted disease. And we're going to be covering that in everybody's favorite chapter. Yeah, okay. So remember while I'm talking, just be quiet, okay? So the initials, I don't want you to tell me the person's name because that's invading your privacy. Okay, the initials of that person. If you need to, make up the initials. I don't care if it's not even correct initials if you don't want me to know. M and S. I had a student ask me yesterday, what you mean by M, F? I don't mean what you think I mean. I mean male and female. Okay, so tell me if that person's male or female. Relationship, is this your mother, father? And the thing that goes on top, the very top person, is going to be self. So start the table out with yourself, and whether or not, whatever it is, you have that, okay? And then where it says condition, let's say at the top here you said, I believe that hypertension runs in my family. And in the table below that, put hypertension for everybody that had it, and not for those that didn't, or you put yes for those that have it, and no for those that don't. But we need this table, and we don't have to fill out every single blank. So if you don't have that many people in your family, I've had students before that copy it and staple another one on because they got 27 people that they got this information from. That's okay, but you don't have to do that. Also notice at the bottom there's a cartoon. So y'all know something about Einstein. Well, he studied the theory of relativity. And I believe that this chart he's got on the board, that may represent Nathan's friend's family in Arkansas because it's a little bit, shall we say, inbred, right? Okay. So I'm not saying anything about Arkansas. I'm just saying, well, Nathan said. Okay, so I'm not going to say that. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that you get one of these from the person who's covering for me while I'm out. So if you didn't get one, ask that person to please give those to you on your way out of the classroom. I'd rather you look at it while I'm looking at it, okay? So let's look again at chapter 10. And this is again about genetics, okay? And I talked about an inherited disease. Here's another one that you've probably heard of before, sickle cell disease. This is a disease that's very common in African American people. It's the number one illness that's found, inherited disease found in African Americans. So that's something you can put on your chart if you know if someone has it, and also if you know if they have traits. So some people know whether or not they have the SCD trait. You can put that in your table too if that's in your family. Again, you are deciding what you want to tell me. So if there's something embarrassing that you don't want me to know, choose something else. Tell me nearsightedness or left-handedness. Don't tell me something that you don't want me to know about. Okay? So as I was telling y'all, left-handedness runs in families, and it runs in mine. About 1 in every 10 Americans is left-handed. Okay, watch what I'm doing with my hands. I'm ambidextrous. Okay, ambidextrous. So you can be left-handed or right-handed, or you can be both. Ambidextrous, that's what that means. So if you've got left-handedness in your family, you may also have ambidexterity. Okay, my father was born left-handed. He was born left-handed. But in the day when my father was coming up, left hand was considered writes with his right hand very well, and he can write with his left hand as well. So in my family, there's left-handedness and there's ambidextrousness. Okay. So I want to show y'all something that I can do that a lot of people can't do, and this is the classroom bonus. So I'm going to ask you on the next test, what can Miss Bugg do that's unusual? And I want you to answer what I'm about to do right now. Okay. I like to do it on the blackboard because it's easier for me to do it on a large scale. But first thing I want to show you is that I can write with my left hand as well as my right. So let's see. Oops, that's not right. So let's say I want to write biology. This is my friend's left hand. And one thing I had to learn about it is it has to slant the opposite from my right hand writing. So you may be somebody that can do this. That's not cursive, but another thing that I can do, which is unusual, and not many people can do this other thing, is I can write with both hands at the same time, one backwards and one forward. So let's see if I can do it, and y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to start with a B, like Okay, biology. I can do this, and so could Leonardo da Vinci. So Leonardo da Vinci kept his notes backwards, and because he wrote on both sides of the paper, you couldn't look through it and read it. Nobody knew what he was doing. But writing backwards, well, I can do it both hands, but like I can write biology, and it takes a minute for me to get used to it again. But once I get started, if I were to write this on a piece of paper, you could turn it over to the other side, and you would see that that's what I did. Okay. So all the time I've been teaching, I've never seen another person who could do this. And I was wondering, is there anybody in here that thinks they might be able to do the same thing? Nathan, you think you could do it? Well, I challenge you then. Let me see what you can do. Okay, so we got black and purple. Let's give it a shot.
Set that out there from this side.
He does it from the center, I think. So he's going to write his name. That's his second, his middle name, Taylor. So he starts in the center and I start at the outer edges. And he does it a better way because I keep bumping into myself when I'm writing for the center. And so I like to try it sometime. I know that I can write forward with both of them at the same time. I believe that's correct. So I think what I can do is this. I think I can pretty much write biology, just like philosophy, but anyway. You have to practice for a while because it's been a while since last semester. I don't do it all the time. When I lived in Kalamazoo, Michigan, I showed this to the people I worked with at Upjohn, and they said people who write backwards are witches. So I like to say that I'm dum-da-dum-da-da, like the Witch of the West. Okay, so anyway, that's something that runs in my family, and apparently it runs in Nathan's family. And so let's see, that's what we're talking about, is things that run in families, things that you inherit from your parents and they got from their parents, etc. Okay? So we're going to be talking about genetics. And we're going to talk about on page 154 and 155, the first person to really understand genetics well. Okay? And so his name was Mendel. And Mendel was a monk. Okay? This is a person that, did you have a question? Wait just a second. Did Nathan have a question? Okay, what's the question? It's about monks?
Was he the one who said that we're related to monkeys?
I don't think so.
But it's genetic.
Well, but it's not monkeys, it's monks. Okay, he's a monk. Okay, thank you for that question. Sometimes people have good questions. Okay, so anyway, monk. I'm not talking about monkeys. I'm talking about people that live in a monastery and they pray all the time. Okay, but somebody has to go out and make a living. And so instead of going out into the village and working there as a tradesman, they stayed in the monastery and everybody had a job to do. So Mendel's job was to grow the garden. He grew all